Alright, class. So today we're going to talk about MLA formatting. This is kind of the first time we've gone over it, so some of the more advanced stuff we'll go over in more detail later. First off, why do we even bother with MLA formatting? What is the benefit of it? Well, for the most part, it kind of helps us build credibility as a writer. If you're reading someone's paper and it looks nice when you look at it, then you're going to be more likely to believe what they're saying. It also helps protect writers from accusations of plagiarism. The way that you cite things and that sort of thing is going to help you steer clear of plagiarism. And for the most part, in order to do it correctly, you should consult the MLA Handbook for Writers of Research Papers. And the 7th edition is going to be the most recent one of that. Okay, so getting started, the heading is what you're going to do whenever you first start your paper. You're going to start at the top over here where you're going to put your last name. So for me, I would put Macmillan and then the page number. The way that you do the page number is you're going to have to go to insert a heading and then go to page number and then on the top of page and then on the right side. And we'll kind of do that in class so that we all know how to do it, but just kind of a heads up on that. Then next you're going to put your name, so I would put Bethany McMillan, and then either Miss, Mr., or Professor, whichever applies to the paper that you're writing. For this class it would be Miss McMillan. The class title, so that's going to be whatever class you're in. So for this class, we're just going to have Freshman English as the class title. And then under that, you're going to have your date. Now, the way that you write the date is a little different. You're going to put the day, the month, and then the year instead of the traditional way of writing it. And there's 4 things you're going to have on every single paper that you write in MLA formatting. And y'all are more than welcome to come back and look at this if you forget. Then you're going to have your title, and different teachers want different things, but for this class, I kind of want a more creative title. I don't want something like how I have just title up here. And then you're going to start writing your paper, and this is going to be your introduction, and you have to tab a 1/2 inch, and then you start typing your paper. So that's an example of where on your paper it will be. Okay, and then over the basics of how your paper is going to be formatted. If it's double spaced, which means there's no extra spaces between paragraphs, so you're going to have like a little bit of space between it, but just double check to make sure that you don't have extra space between your paragraphs. You're also going to have 1-inch margins all the way around your paper. Just make sure that it is nice and clean, and you can set that up in the formatting of your paper. Your font is supposed to be 12 point and Times New Roman, so that way everything kind of looks the same, especially for the length of papers and things like that. That way you know exactly how long to make it. At the top, kind of how you saw in the last thing, the title is going to be centered, so it'll be in the middle of the paper, and then you'll indent a 1/2 page for every new paragraph, so it's not just for the first one. Alright, now we're getting into the plagiarism stuff. So, how to cite in your text. So when you're quoting from another book or another source, you have to cite it. And an example of this is explaining it. The author's last name and the page number from which the quotation or paraphrase is taken must appear in the text, and a complete reference should appear in your works cited page. So this is the text. It's the Purdue Owl, which is the website that I'm going to give y'all to look at if you ever get confused, and then page number 1. And you're going to have that in parentheses, and then your period is going to be after that. And also make sure that your text that you're quoting from someone else is in quotation marks. That way we know exactly what is your words and what is someone else's. And here I could have included Purdue Owl. I could have included this in an introductory phrase, kind of like this, and then I wouldn't have to put it in the quotation mark. And we'll kind of discuss that a little more in class, and if y'all are confused, you're more than welcome to ask. Alright. And here's kind of an example of what your average works cited page will look like. You have the title, which is centered right here, and it's going to say works cited. Now, if you only have one piece that you're quoting from, then that means it's going to be work cited, but either way, I mean, that's pretty simple. And then the way that you do for this is a website. You're going to have your author, and you're going to do the last name and then first name, comma, and then for multiple authors you do their names in the correct order, so like Alan Brisney instead of that way that we did the first one, and Elizabeth and Jelly. And then the article is going to be in quotation marks. So the article that I got that quote from earlier was MLA Formatting and Style Guide. So you're going to have that in quotation marks. And then I got that from the Purdue Owl, which is like our main source. So that's going to be italicized. And then the rest of this is the source or the company that published it, the date that it was written, and where it's from. So it's just from a website, and you can include the website, but it's almost better to not, unless it's a difficult website to find. And then the date that it was accessed. So I accessed this the 13th of November in 2010. Alright, so that's the basics of how your works cited is going to be. For next class period, we're really going to go more over like the formatting and that sort of thing. This was just kind of a basic overview of how works cited is going to be. So I'll see y'all in class tomorrow.